Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're doing a bit of time travel. We are tracing the origins of the productive value, productive power framework. Now, before we get completely lost in the dense, complex mathematics of the modern model, we really need to understand its elegant beginnings. Because as you'll see, the massive architecture we use today, it all stems from one remarkably small, simple starting point.
So here is our roadmap for today. 1. A simple starting insight. 2. Postulates and core definitions. 3. Information and human exchange. 4. The shared hunting example. 5. Correcting the early model. And finally, 6. The enduring framework. Let's just dive right in.
Section 1. A simple starting insight. The seed of a complex theory. To understand the massive architecture of the mature framework, we literally have to start as small as possible. The central insight here is incredibly profound, but wonderfully simple. Human beings just do not survive alone. Think about it. We depend entirely on the value that passes between us and the capacities that allow us to generate that value. We don't just continue on socially in a vacuum. We rely heavily on our interactions and, crucially, on transferring capability to future generations.
Section 2. Postulates and core definitions. The foundational building blocks.
First up is productive value, or PV for short. Think of this as the actual transfer itself. It's the verb of the exchange. It is what passes between people and truly matters to what they can do next. It could be a physical good, right, like handing someone a meal. Or it could be an intangible transfer, like giving someone a crucial warning. Interestingly enough, it also includes acts of deception or harm. Basically, if it passes between us and changes our situation, it's PV. Second, we have productive power, or PP. Now, if PV is the water flowing between us, PP is the reservoir. It's the underlying capacity that remains after that exchange happens. It is what a person can actually do, tolerate, or recover from. So your bodily health, your skills, your reputation, your money, your access to institutions, all of that is your productive power. It's the engine that makes future action possible. And third, information. Information is basically the translator here. It makes exchange intelligible. It tells us exactly what's being offered and what we should expect. Now, sure, information can absolutely be a productive value itself, like a really great teacher's lesson, but its quality dictates absolutely everything. Bad information, like a false rumor or some manipulative scam, can very easily make us mistake a deeply harmful exchange for a beneficial one. So pulling those terms together gives us 4 original postulates. 1. We are socially dependent, meaning our capacities are literally formed through interaction. 2. We constantly exchange value. 3. We all possess differing levels of productive power. And 4. Human continuity. This just means society doesn't only need to survive today, it absolutely must transfer enough value into its children to build the capable adults of tomorrow.
Section 3. Information and human exchange. How the building blocks interact.
All right, so how do these building blocks actually operate in everyday life? Well, the original question wasn't actually about financial markets at all. It was about human exchange. The authors asserted that an economy is so much larger than just a priced marketplace. Parenting, or, giving a friend a heads-up warning, actively builds productive power. A healthy meal preserves capability, while an addiction might feel really good right now, but totally destroys power later. And the glue for all of this? Trust. Trust lowers the cost of exchange, making cooperation super easy, while betrayal completely shatters our ability to interact in the future.
Section 4. The shared hunting example. A concrete historical illustration. To really ground this abstract theory, the original authors used a brilliant, super tangible scenario: early human hunting. Imagine 2 people hunting totally independently. They risk failing and completely wasting all their energy. But if they coordinate, sharing information about the terrain, aligning their efforts, they succeed. The surplus food they gain? That's their productive value. The strength and coordination they built up? That is their productive power, which then goes right on to support their recovery and their child development. It's a perfect loop.
Section 5. Correcting the early model. Intellectual humility and evolution. Now, as insightful as that early model was, it definitely overreached. Thankfully, the original authors had the intellectual humility to refine their work over time. For instance, their early focus on just cooperation and procreation, that was way too narrow. The mature framework had to expand to include the darker sides of humanity, things like theft, fraud, and coercion, as well as really complex modern realities like institutional action. Another vital correction dealt with a very common human blur: confusing immediate pleasure with long-term capability.
Just because something provides immediate productive value, like eating an entire cake, doesn't mean it actually expands your future productive power. The framework had to clearly, strictly separate momentary relief, which might actually just be a bad habit, from the interactions that truly build durable, long-term viability. Early on, the model also kind of treated a person's productive power like a single numerical score, almost like your net worth in a video game. The mature framework completely rejected this idea. Notice how physical health, social trust, and financial savings are entirely independent domains. They are structured completely differently. You literally can't just mash them together into one single number without losing the true reality of a person's actual situation. Finally, they absolutely had to address a critical human limitation. The early model risked implying that whatever increased a society's overall collective capacity was somehow inherently justified. The correction here was absolute. An increase in collective capability can never, ever justify violating individual consent or safety. Aggregate capacity simply does not and cannot erase human rights or limits. Section 6. The Enduring Framework. The Legacy of the Seed Insight. Despite these necessary corrections and all the incredibly complex math that followed later, that foundational observation never disappeared. I'm going to leave you with this exact thought. The mature PVPP framework can only really be understood if the reader first sees how much grew out of a very small original insight. Human beings live through what passes between them, and societies endure only if they preserve and develop the capacities that make future interaction possible. So looking at your own life today, are your daily exchanges actively building your future capacity or just providing momentary relief?